Hello everyone, welcome back to BSP Self-Learning video series. This is my fourth tutorial for Python for beginners. In my previous video, I've explained how to get input from the user and how to calculate the sum based on the input entered by the user. Now in this tutorial, I will be going to tell you how to write a function in a Python. So first let's understand what is a function. So basically function is a code block of organized, reusable code that is used to perform a single related action. So it's a code block, and that code block, if you want to execute it again and again, we can put that block or we can put that code in the block, and that code block is known as a function. And function provides better modularity for your applications and a high degree of code reusing. Now there are many built-in functions like print function. So in my previous examples, we have done that how to display the output on the screen. So we have used print function, we have worked on input function. So all these are system-defined functions. But apart from that, we can create our own functions as well, and those functions are known as user-defined functions. So in this tutorial, we'll be going to create our own functions or custom-defined functions or basically user-defined functions. So let's switch to Python first of all. So let me open the program, the existing program which we have covered in previous tutorial. And you can see here, if I modify this program, first of all, I create a new file, new Python file, and save it as a py.py. So let me write a code here. I write here, my name is equal to input, enter your name. And I write here print welcome my name. First we save this. So I save this as program 3, and when we execute it, it asks for a name. I enter my name and I got a message, welcome. So if I copy this code and paste it multiple times, 3 times, and if I execute it, you can see it asks for a name. I enter a name, Bob. I got a message, welcome Bob. Again they're asking for a name, enter your name. So I enter a name, Suzanne. I got a message, welcome Suzanne. And again it asks for a name. I enter Jimmy. So I got a message, welcome Jimmy. So it's a single line. So the code is not that much, so it's pretty easy to work to. We can copy this code multiple times. But if we have a big code and we have to execute that code multiple times, so in that case, if we copy it, first of all, the code will become big. And if any error occurs in that code, it will be very difficult to find out the error and to solve that error. So to solve this issue, we can create functions in Python, and we can execute that function multiple times, or we can call that function multiple times. So to make this program easy to understand and more readable, I'm going to put this code of block. So I cut this and I create a function here. So that's a comment. So that's a comment here, and I write here def. Def is the for definition, and we give a function name of function1. And here I write my name is equal to input, enter your name, and print hello my name. So that's the code, and you can see in this code, first of all, we have defined a function name. That's the function name with brackets open and close. Later on, we'll be going to see how to pass parameters into it. So right now it's a blank, it's a function with no parameters. And then my name, it's a variable, and this variable gets the input from the user. So whatever name user will enter, that will store into my name, and then we print by using this print statement. So you can see it's a print function, so it's a system defined function, and this is user defined function or a custom function. So now to call a function, so I write here statement to call a function. So how to call this function? We simply write here function1 and bracket open and close. So now if I execute this program, if I run this program and press F5 key, it asks for a save. I OK. And you see, I got a message, enter your name. I enter my name and I got a message, hello, Sumit. So what happened here is when we execute this program, first of all, it looks for this first statement. So it's a comment. So the compiler or the interpreter will not be going to use this to read this. It will bypass this statement. Then it creates a function. It defines a function with function one, name as function one. Then it creates the variable. Then the function one will be called here. So function one will call this function. It will invoke this function, and in this function we have a statement, my name is equal to enter your name. So here it print a message, enter your name, and it will let user to input a value, and whatever value user input, that will store into my name. And then this print function is used to print a statement, hello, as well as the value of the variable which is stored in this variable, or the value which is stored in this my name. So this is how we can create a function. So it's a simple function. If you want to create a parameterized function, so instead of passing the value here, I can cut it, and instead of it, if I want to create parameterized function, so simple, I write here my name, and to call this function, because this function contains one parameter, so I need to pass a parameter here, and I can pass a parameter here. And when I execute it, you can see I got a message, hello. So in this case, when this statement execute, when this function will be invoked, it will pass a parameter into this function, and this, the value, whatever value we entered here, that will store into my name variable, and as in my name parameter, and it will used here. If we did not pass any parameter here, and if we try to invoke this function, we'll get an error message. Why? And what's the error? You can see here, the error is the function one missing one required positional argument, my name. So there is one argument, so we need to pass one parameter here. If there are two arguments, let's suppose if we have two parameters, my name one, and still if we execute this program, again we'll get an error message, missing one required positional argument, my name one. So you need to make sure that if you are invoking a function, or if you are calling a function, you need to pass the values according to its parameters. So if there are one or two parameters, so you also need to pass the values based on the number of parameters of the function which you have created. So it's a small program. Let's create a small calculator by using Python. So I'll simply change this program, and instead of this, I write here, I change this function name, and I write here add, and give a command print num1 is equal to int input, enter a number, and copy this, paste it, num2. So let's see, instead of enter a number, I'll set it to enter first number, enter second number, and num3 is equal to num1 plus num2, and we can print the result here. Print result is num3, and then to invoke this function, I simply write add. Now if I execute this program, if to test this program, I got a message, enter first number. So this function will be invoked, add. So first it is asking, it will get the first number from the user, then it will get the second number from the user, and then it will calculate it. So let's say I enter number 1 10, enter second number 20, and the result is 30. If you want your function should return a value, so in that case, first of all, I remove this print statement, and so and entered a statement return. So this return will return the value from this function back to the statement from where this function is invoked. Now, but as you can see here, this return, basically this return function, this return statement will return the value of number 3. So when we are invoking this function, we need a variable where the value from this function will be stored, or the value which returned from this function will be stored. So I create a new variable here, result is equal to, and invoke the function. And here I write print result is result and run it. We got a message, enter first number, enter second number 20, and when we press enter we got result is 30. So in this case, what happened here, when we execute this function is invoked, add function is invoked, this function is invoked here, then it gets input from the user, enter first number, enter second number, stored into num1 and num2, and this integer is basically typecasting. It is because whatever value user input in the shell, that will input as a string, so we need to convert that into integer. Then we calculate it, num1 plus num2, and store into num3. This return statement will return the result or the value of this number 3 back to this statement, and that value, the result will be stored into this result variable, and here we use this result variable to print the value. So this how we can let a function should return a value. Again, if you want to pass a parameter here, if you don't want to call this directly into function, so we can pass parameters here, num1 comma num2, and here we can pass values 10 comma 20. Execute it and we get result is 30. So based on that, we can create a complete calculator. Let's suppose I would like to create a calculator here, and in that calculator, first of all, I would like to get the input from the user, that if user wants to do the calculation or this addition, subtraction, minus, or multiplication. So for that, I write a statement here, operator is equal to input, enter your required operation, plus, minus, multiply, divide. So that's the program. So you can see here I have mentioned here operator and input, enter your required operations, plus, minus, multiply, divide, and I check if the operator is plus. I invoke this function add function and pass two parameters here, and whatever input or whatever value will return from this function, it will store into output, and then we print the output here. So I have done this for plus. You can check this for minus as well. So in order to do that, you can use here elif and operator equal minus, and then we need to make functions. So I make functions here, plus, minus, multiply, divide, and I, instead of add, subtract, here I change it to multiply, this I change this to div, and num1 minus num2, multiply and divide. And we can test here as well, if number 2 is equal to 0 or less than 0, it will not divide it. So that validation you can test it. And here I simply call here output is equal to subtract 20 minus 10 and print output. So now let's test this program. So to test this, I execute it, I run it, save it, and it will ask for an operator. So first I enter plus. I got the output is result is 30, because when I enter an operator plus, it will invoke this. This condition will be satisfied. It will call this add function, 10 plus 10 and 20. 10 plus 20 is 30. But again, if I execute this and this time I input an operator minus, I got the output 10, because when I enter operator minus, the first condition does not satisfy. It tests for second condition. This condition satisfy, and this invoke the sub function. And in sub function, we have done num1 minus num2, and the output will store into this output, and we'll get the output here. So this is how we can work on functions in Python. I hope this video makes you clear. This tutorial makes you clearly understand about functions in Python. If you like our videos, please subscribe or please hit like in YouTube. You can subscribe our YouTube channel as well, or you can visit our website for a customized training program on Python. In next tutorial, I will be coming up with some new topics. Till then, have a nice day. Goodbye.